How's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Sorry my voice is a little bit off still. I'm kind of getting over a cold, so apologies about that. Here's the E-flite Timber. Going to do some flying this morning with the airplane. And as you can tell, I do not have the front slats installed, so this is the basic airplane flying without those slats. I have heard some reports that the landing gear springs have failed on some landings, so I'll be watching that, but I'm flying here today on a pretty nice smooth baseball diamond and kind of short grass, so these landings hopefully shouldn't be too rough, but I do plan definitely later to fly the plane off some rougher stuff and kind of test out that gear and the stall flying a little bit more. This airplane has a pretty good wingspan, guys. It's 1,500 millimeters, but actually in the specs they say 1,555 or 61 inches. So it can be kind of a challenge to get into the back seat of a car. Fairly easy if you put the plane upside down and just aim that wing towards the footwell opposite of where you're putting it in. Fits pretty well that way. Someone did mention that the aileron throw seemed to be fairly high when I showed it moving in the shop. And by the way, I'm flying all on just the stock control throws. I'm not altering anything, so this is just binding it and going basically. And yes, the aileron does move a fair amount, but this is a very big wing and a very small aileron. So even though it's moving quite a bit, the roll rate is still fairly low. This is definitely not a 3D airplane. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and put a battery in. Yes, it does go on the bottom of the fuselage, unfortunately, so a little bit more of a pain than if it went into the top, but not really a big deal. I don't really mind that the battery goes into the bottom of the fuselage. That's not that big a deal, but what I don't like is these tiny little Velcro pads on the battery plate to hold it are, first of all, they're tiny, and they're also recessed into this plastic piece. So I doubt they're doing very much to hold the battery at all. I think mainly the only thing that's going to be holding it are these straps, and they're kind of hard to manipulate. They're hard to tighten down because this cavity is very small, and these are just kind of hard to move. But I definitely recommend make sure these straps are tight, because I don't think you're going to get much traction with these tiny little Velcro pads on the battery tray. So that's the main issue I have with the battery compartment. I want the battery to be secure. I don't so much care if you have to put it into the top or the bottom, but you definitely don't want it to slide around in there. And there's the battery in there, guys, and a little bit of work to get these straps tight, but definitely make sure you get them down tight so your battery doesn't slide backwards into the fuselage. You don't want that to happen. Once you plug in the battery upside down, AS3X is not going to arm. It won't arm until you actually flip the airplane over onto its wheels. So once you do that, just give it a few seconds, just let it be still when it's right side up, and the AS3X will arm, and then you're ready to fly. And by the way, guys, I'm just flying it with standard AS3X today, no safe. The airplane is not even bound for safe right now. I might test that out later like I did with the Spitfire, especially if you guys are interested in that. But today is all just flying with standard AS3X. Alright, first takeoff will just be flaps up, full power. Just see how fast this thing jumps into the air. And you can see this thing has great power right up there. And I'll bring it around here. You guys a roll. So it's not going to roll real fast even with those aileron throws. But it's definitely good for some nice sport flying. Alright, let's test out the stall on this plane. Cut the power here. Pull up on the elevator. And it's just gently dropping the nose. It just wants to glide basically. That's all I can get it to do. So no wing drop, nothing bad. That's good. Dead stick it. See that? Just floats and floats. I run out of room here pretty quick. This is not a big field. it inverted. I do need some down elevator pressure to keep the nose up. But it holds inverted nicely. And we'll climb out of that, roll it back over. No trouble on the short grass here, so that's good. I wouldn't expect it to have any trouble with those big wheels. That should test out those springs a little. Let's try a half flaps takeoff on the grass. Yeah, pretty much just up into the air there. Now it's coming downwind, it's going to carry a little bit. Drop full flaps here, into the wind. There you go. Half flaps again. Let's bring it around. I'm still half flaps. Let's drop them to full flaps now. And fighting a little bit of wind here, trying to get it real slow. Turn it, turns nice there. Bring her down. Go back to half flaps, take it off. Flaps up, powered up. I'm going into the wind right now. That was half flaps. All right, full flaps take off, crosswind. Flaps up. This plane does a pretty good knife edge too. And I think you're getting about probably 5 to 7 minutes easy. I mean, you can do a lot of gliding with this plane, low throttle flying, a lot of takeoffs and landings, so you can make your battery pack last, that's for sure. Pretty good flat turns here, lots of rudder authority. That big wing just keeps it in the air. All right, let's bring it around here, full flaps. Very cool. All right, full flaps take off. All right, let's land it with flaps up. Yeah, this is fun. This is a lot of fun. Half flaps takeoff, bring it around, land at full flaps. That was a -6 inches landing. It rolled backwards. Okay, let's try that again. Keep it out of that little ditch. Half flaps takeoff, bring it around, land at full flaps. One more time, full flaps takeoff. Remember, don't let it balloon. You might need to push that nose down a little bit to keep it from ballooning up and stalling on you. But just practice it. Full flaps. Cruising by. Every plane takes some practice, guys. This is a fun plane to fly, no question about it. And I think if you forget about the flaps for a little while, not bad for a high wing trainer. All right, well, there is some flying of the E-flite Timber. Very nice flying airplane, guys. Really has no bad habits, very easy stall. You know, I think that this could be a high wing trainer. Just don't bother with the flaps at first because it's easy to fly, it's stable, it's got good power, and it flies really well without the flaps, but put the flaps down, you can have a ton of fun. I did a lot of pretty rough takeoffs and landings. I mean, nothing real extreme, but the landing gear is holding up, just to point that out. And, you know, overall, just a really nice flying model. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.